May was good. We got a bunch of uploads out in May. We got 4. Alright, I can't wait to get to see what else we can do for June. Zelda 10 Years Apart's already out. Other videos in the works. Yeah, that's good. Something doesn't smell right. What the hell? Squirrel, did I forget to feed you? Oh well. Rest in peace, buddy. What is this? Oh, well, this didn't age well. Shit.
Okay, I have to be honest here. The only reason this game is on this list is because I needed to fill the number 10 slot. And out of the games we might have picked, this one was the highest rated online, so blame the internet. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is port from the Wii U, but it doesn't mean it's not a good game. If you didn't already know, this game is a spin-off from 3D World, and I'm guessing that it was well received, so they made it into its own game. The graphics are beautiful, and the gameplay is amazing, and it's well priced at only £35. I know that can be still quite pricey, but compared to other Switch games, that's cheap. I forgot to mention that this game is also available on the 3DS, but at just £13. But let's face it, you're gonna buy the Switch version. Truth be told, I don't own this game, never even watched a video on it, but it's here, it's number 10, let's go on the list.
At number 9, we have Nintendo Land. This is a game that's very original, and essentially it's a compilation of 12 minigames called attractions. Each one is based on a Nintendo franchise, example Zelda. All of the minigames are charming and exciting, each showcasing something about the gamepad. For example, in Yoshi's fruit cart, you need to draw a line to collect all the fruit, but you can only see the fruits on the TV and the line on the gamepad. This forces you to coordinate and is very fun. This is just a single example of a minigame. Completing every minigame is very difficult and takes loads of practice, increasing the lasting appeal of Nintendo Land. There are 6 multiplayer attractions, 3 co-ops and 3 competitive. Each of these is a blast. The competitive ones especially make creative use of the gamepad and Wii Remotes together. Other examples include Metroid Blast, the finest one in the bunch, places up to 5 players in one arena, where one controls a ship through the gamepad and the others play as Samus on the ground, to either blast each other to death or defeat hordes of different enemies in varied challenges. The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest offers 9 familiar scenarios with temples, forests and volcanoes, where a group of Link-dressed Miis must down many challenging foes and bosses with swords, or with arrows and bows. Finally, Pikmin Adventure has one of the players lead the way as Olimar, while the other 4 control large and very powerful Pikmin to aid Olimar and the regular sized ones. In Luigi's Ghost Mansion, one person who is the ghost looks at the gamepad and 4 people look at the TV. The people with Wii remotes are all Luigis who must capture the ghost, who is the gamepad player. But the ghost is not visible on TV, however the gamepad player looks at the gamepad so they can see themselves. Whoever you play as, it's one of the most fun experiences I've had all year in the game. It doesn't matter whoever you play with or as, it's a fun experience. Sadly, there's no competitive options in the remaining 6 minigames. Nintendo Land is amazing, you should buy for your Wii U, and not just because it showcases its capabilities.
At number 8 we have Pikmin 3. Truthfully, I wasn't much of a Pikmin fan. I'd only heard of Olimar through Smash Bros, and the games just didn't interest me that much. However, when I first played Pikmin 3, I was in awe. Firstly, it's completely different to the games on the GameCube. Here, you're playing as Charlie, and you need to find your crewmates Alf and Brittany in order to search for a solution to save the inhabitants of their home planet from starvation. Much of your journey entails securing fruit that will sustain you for one more in-game day. Fruits like melons and lemons are scattered throughout the 5 enormous environments, and you have to be resourceful and persistent to collect enough to keep living. 5 Pikmin types eventually join your party, each with special abilities that make them indispensable to your survival. Venturing underwater with any colour but blue is going to lead to a lot of drowned bodies, and only your red guys can withstand the scorching heat of the fire pits. When electricity makes its presence known, make sure you have plenty of yellow Pikmin nearby. Although those 3 Pikmin types have been in the previous 2 games, there are a couple of new additions as well. The pink Pikmin aren't too handy in a fight, but their flight lets you lift up gates or reach higher ground. The black Pikmin are the exact opposite. Their heavy shell keeps them grounded, but they can crash clean through any crystal. This formidable team keeps you prepared for any situation. Now there are 5 massive environments to explore. Aside from restocking your fruit supply, there are no pressing objectives, so you're free to wander wherever you desire, enjoying your own time in this foreign land. The atmosphere is instantly welcoming. Foliage lines for every path you walk down, making it feel as if you're taking a simple stroll through an overgrown forest. Such sights are continually stunning, and the game employs a number of camera tricks to ensure that you see the many serene vistas from optimal vantage points. There's not just a story mode in this game, mission mode can be played alone or with a friend, and time is quickly evaporating commodity. In these specially designed levels, you have to collect treasure, kill enemies, or vanquish bosses as quickly as possible, and your reward is a shiny badge. There's also a bingo battle and a chaotic excursion into competitive matches. In this 2-player face-off, you try to complete one row of your bingo card before your friend can. Those who played the original Pikmin games may say that Pikmin 3 doesn't offer much growth from previous games in the series, and actually takes a step backwards in some areas. But there's no shame in falling just short of the classic offerings that came before it. Scouring the environment for all the hidden goodies is immensely enjoyable, because of the clever problem solving you have to employ, and the competitive mode should test the strength of any friendship. There's nothing quite like Pikmin out there, and its delightful combination of survival strategy and unflinching cuteness should entertain you throughout this lengthy adventure. At number 7 we have Yoshi's Woolly World. I want you to think about Super Mario 3D World. Now I want you to think about Kirby's Epic Yarn. And now I want you to just mash those games together. You should now be thinking of Yoshi's Woolly World. This game definitely has some good things going for it. It's absolutely adorable and visually charming, and the art style of the Yoshi series blends itself perfectly with the yarn aesthetic. On top of that, the game does control pretty well. It's pretty fun to play and very accessible and easy to get into. If you've ever played the classic Yoshi's Island, you should have a pretty good idea what you get into. Yoshi's most important tool is his giant tongue, of course. He can use his tongue to grab most enemies into his mouth. From there, you can either spit them out or swallow them into yarn balls to use as projectiles. Once you get ready to throw a ball, a cruiser appears to move up and down. You can throw at any time or pause the cruiser in a particular position. You'll need to throw balls at enemies as well as clouds featuring question marks. Hitting the clouds will either offer a new reward or open up new paths. There's much to do within and in between each stage. Before you even set the stage, you can buy a power-up that will provide a unique advantage for the entire level. In each level there are rewards for finding 5 flowers, 5 yarn bundles and 20 highlighted gems. The yarn bundles unlock a different Yoshi to play as, the flowers help unlock bonus stages, and the gems unlock a gold Poochie Dash. Poochie is Yoshi's adorable little doggy friend, and he features his own auto-scrolling stages. There are only a handful of levels for Poochie, but they mix things up and offer their own challenges to complete. Some long-time Yoshi fans may just see this as another Yoshi game, but I see this as a Nintendo experiment done right, and it proved to be a hit with Yoshi's Crafted World being a successful sequel.
Next up at number 6, I have to say this. If Rayman Origins was a sign that the Rayman series could work in 2D, Rayman Legends is a message that the series can master 2D. It takes everything that made Origins great and improves on it immensely. The characters are still very funny and the minimal writing is still as charming as ever. The soundtrack remains fantastic, especially on the musical stages, and the visuals are stunning and even more clever than Origins. The combat, platforming and controls are as strong and polished as ever, and the new powers add an added layer of fun to the game. Legends also features some of the best level designs in the series, which is no easy task as Rayman had almost always had amazing level design. And the game is accessible while still adding a good amount of challenge. It's hard to find many flaws with this game. The only very minor one that pops in my mind is that running up walls can occasionally be wonky. Even then though, it's not too significant in the grand scheme. Overall, Rayman Legends lives up to the title. It's a masterpiece that is by far my favourite entry in this great series. It's a damn shame that Ubisoft sees fit to completely ignore this franchise these days. I know the tough act to follow trope could be kicking in after the game like this, but even if it takes Ubisoft forever to acknowledge Rayman again, at least their latest entry in the series is a gem. If you haven't played it yet, what are you waiting for? Go play it. Best of all, look at this Mario costume. Next up at the number 5 spot, that's right, we have HD Zelda Wind Waker. Wind Waker's HD story feels really separate from any of the previous Zelda games, though it ends up tying into the rest of the series pretty well. The game opens on the appropriately named Outset Island, where you live with your sister and grandmother. The brilliant sea travel will be beloved by almost every gamer. Just sailing your time away at the sea, which had to be a dream in the gaming before, is now only a purchase and a number of button presses away. Also, the amount of depth and imagination given to every area and the names to places are just the things that you'll learn to appreciate when playing. It's so charmful. The graphics are fantastic, a bit like a Nordic art style. You'll fall in love when you first see Link, who looks so cute with the graphical style. And the detail, of course, has been given by Nintendo brilliantly. Everything can be interacted with and has been given such great detail. It's very hard to criticise the game at a graphical standpoint. Treasure hunting, come on, who doesn't love the sound of treasure hunting? I know I do, and I absolutely adored it in this game. It was just plain awesome. You'll be wanting to fill out that sea chart and get some bait, so that those fish guys will fill it out for you. There's also a great cast of characters. I'll start with the King of Red Lions, who's like your guide throughout the journey. You get to sail with him at sea, and he gives you hints and instructions to do, and reminds you what to do if you happen to forget. And overall, just the characters in this game are so charmful. One-on-one combat is a blast, and when fighting in a group of enemies, the fighting can really get intense and exciting and also quite hard. There's also a great arsenal of weapons too, from your basic sword and shield to bombs, bow and arrows, or the pictograph. There's also the grappling hook, telescope, and every explorer needs one, a sail which is very important because you can't really get anywhere without it, a boomerang which is traditional in the Legend of Zelda items. Lastly, the puzzles, man, are just plain simple and will be dealt with in seconds. Others, I promise you'll be scratching your head and wondering what the freaking heck are you meant to do only. To find that, the answer/solution to the puzzle was so simple. Patience is the key here, and like any other game that is heavily puzzle and dungeon based, dungeons, although not so many in this game, are all great, and the puzzles that have been inserted into them have all been very well thought of.
I don't know about you guys, but as a kid, I always dreamed about creating my own Mario levels, and the closest thing I got to that was the stage builder in Smash Bros. Brawl. However, that all changed when Nintendo released Super Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker is essentially two games, a design tool and a traditional 2D platformer. The tool aspect lets you clip elements from several Mario games and toss them together into a level of your own making, which you can then upload online for everybody to play. You choose the overall graphical scheme from among Super Mario Bros., Mario Bros. 3, Mario World, or Mario Bros. U. This affects the way everything looks and sounds, and how some items are used. It's a simple system that involves dragging and dropping different items from the menu bar into the environment. Copying, deleting, and drawing platforms is easy as swiping and drawing across the Wii U tablet. As you play through levels, obstacles, and platforms, little background elements pop up, adding colour and variety to the scenery. And with an undo dog button and a restart rocket icon, the menu aesthetic is an obvious nod to the quirky, experimental SNES titled Mario Paint. You'll even get flies swarming around your screen if you let the game idle for too long. Everything is incredibly easy to understand, implement, and experiment with, which makes creating levels, even for a complete novice, fun and effortless. Unlike other games where the creation aspect is secondary to playing through a story or mission mode, crafting a level in Mario Maker is the focus. And also, unlike with those games, creating a level is just as fun as playing one. Swapping between building and testing a stage is immediate and seamless, so it's easy to try new ideas. This lends the game a sense of discovery and adventure, even after you've been creating for hours. Super Mario Maker is a game of joyous creation and fun surprises, and that's without mentioning things like the music, a highlight in every Mario game. From the familiar and joyous themes in the main worlds to the altered riffs you get when tinkering around in Maker mode, the soundtrack captures that same essence of wonder and surprise as the rest of the game. Even the in-game instructor manual is incredibly useful and entertaining. It's graphically animated, written with a great sense of humour. In fact, it was that good that they made a sequel for the Switch.
A new original Nintendo IP for the Wii U? That's right. Taking third is 2015 Splatoon. I'll be completely honest with you guys, As fun as this game looked when it first released on the Wii U console, I was kind of worried it was going to fail. No voice chat, lack of features and maps at launch, poor advertising and the struggles of the global test fire just had me worrying more and more about what if this exciting new IP from Nintendo comes out and ends up not doing so well. Fortunately, Splatoon is an absolutely fantastic game that succeeds in almost every aspect. The game is extremely fun to play, unique, fresh, no pun intended, and visually gorgeous, and now with all the free updates available, there was and still is plenty of content worth trying out. Also, even if the game's campaign is pretty short, it's still wildly fun to play and features some amazing level design and mission variety that will keep you on your toes all throughout. The game isn't immaculate though. The local multiplayer is definitely lacking, and being someone that doesn't play online games that often, it sucks that I can't play battles locally and get the same experiences. Although the online, except locally, is just amazing. Even so, Splatoon is an amazing, excellent game that should not be missing from your Wii U collection. And as of making the video, Splatoon 2, another masterclass shooter, is out, and a third coming at the end of this year. What's made it to the number 2 spot? Let's find out.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Due to Nintendo's crappy marketing for the Wii U, I didn't even know that this game existed until I saw Let's Play of it on YouTube. And this was back when Let's Plays were so popular, so I watched almost an entire Let's Play of this game in just one day. Mario Kart 8 has you racing on roads, walls, underwater, and gliding through the air. One of the first things you'll notice about this game is the graphics. Everything is just so crisp, colourful, and detailed. The attention to detail is just amazing. There's plenty of little touches, such as birds which fly away from the road as you approach, which just makes you feel more immersed in the world. The item balance is a welcome change from the days of Mario Kart Wii 2. That game was just infuriating with the amount of blue shells. Blue shells still exist in this game, but they pop up less and apparently are capped at once per lap. Most items are actually pretty rare, which seems to be the major complaint of any players, since you often end up with coins in first and mushrooms if you're towards the back. Stars no longer give that nice speed boost, which possibly add a bit more acceleration, so they don't have the same impact like they used to. The core game could well be the best Mario Kart yet. There's plenty of characters, courses and vehicles, has good online multiplayer and gears the races more towards skill. Now there are definitely features that need to be improved upon, and I did that in the port on the Switch. Overall, Mario Kart 8 is a brilliant game, but not quite the best on our list. What game do you think made it at the top?
At first we have, that's right, like our top 10 3DS games. If you want to check that out, look at the description and the iCards. And being the sequel to Super Mario 3D Land, we have Mario 3D World. Super Mario 3D World, as a series successor in the main line of the Mushroom Kingdom adventures, arrives carrying the heavy burden following platforming perfection, that being the Galaxy games. The game's strategy to climb that hill goes against expectations. It does away with hyperscaled worlds and gravity mechanics and replaces them with cozy simplicity, while its spiritual predecessor, the 3DS Super Mario 3D Land, attempted to be the pure translation of a side-scrolling Mario game to 3 dimensions. It failed because of unremarkable stage design. In comparison though, Super Mario 3D World achieves that goal amazingly well, and while it does not have the same impact as the Galaxy games did, it cannot be accused of being less fun. The game's controls and cameras are likely to feel strange at first. The characters do not run with great momentum, and picking up speed takes a little while. As a consequence, jumps are much tighter and the precision seems off at first. Still, with time, the different physics and restricted camera begin to make sense with the context of the game's stages. They are more focused than ever, and despite the fact that their length varies between satisfyingly short and decently lengthy, all of them are equally packed with one small platforming segment after the other. Mario, Luigi and Toad are all controllable, and their behaviour is directly extracted from the NES Super Mario Bros. 2. Mario is the most balanced of all the characters, while Luigi runs fast, performs high jumps, but has slippery steps, making it hard to stop his motion precisely. Toad is the fastest of the bunch, and his small quick jumps can be saving grace at times, or a major hindrance at certain occasions. Finally, Peach is distinctively slower than the others, but ability to hover mid-air for a couple of seconds can be great value when dealing with stages with tiny platforms and tricky jumps, not to mention how helpful she can be for some more inexperienced players. The character variety adds a lot to the game's replay value, and to those who constantly switch between all 4, it adds a little extra flavour to each new stage. Although the game offers 8 overworlds that centre around familiar themes of the franchise, so for example water and desert, The stages within each do not follow along the theme, hence a forest stage can be found in a water world, and an ice level could be put in a castle world. Not only does it keep the experiences from growing visually stale, from spending hours on stages with the same scenario, it also creates stage designers to create whatever they please and place the stage in a position where it makes sense from a difficulty standpoint. Aside from the traditional reach the pole stage, Nintendo has thrown a few unique levels along the way. Battle levels, in which players will either have to face big bosses or numerous smaller enemies, are fairly frequent. Super Mario 3D Land ends up finding its way to stun even those who are still numb from the sheer greatness that was Super Mario Galaxy series. It is a game of unparalleled visual goodness, but most importantly than that, it is a game that will please gamers from all ages, backgrounds and taste, and that's why it places as the top Wii U game. With that said, it's time for the outro.